Hey everybody, RainyCage back here. I know it's been a while, been a couple years, but there's lots that has happened, and as you can see from the title of this video, I want to talk about the MCU Disney Plus TV shows. I want to talk about what I think about them. I want to talk about I want to rank them, obviously, by the title of this video. What I think of them compared to the Netflix shows, what I think of them compared to the MCU films. I want to talk about all that stuff. I was going to do the live stream of this, but I think I'm going to start off with just recording this ahead of time. That's my first step. See how this new setup works. And then maybe I'll do some more videos later on down the line with this same setup, and maybe I will switch to live mode. We'll see. But let's talk about this. The MCU Disney Plus TV shows. It's a mouthful. As many have talked about, I was super excited. I love the MCU. Some of the, like, my top 10 MCU films are some of my favorite movies. I've loved it, like with the millions of other Americans and people around the world. I really loved it. So when Disney Plus was coming out, they said we're going to do MCU shows that are going to be on Disney Plus, and they're going to be part of the MCU. I got super excited because I was like, man, if we're going to take that same level of excitement from the movies and apply it to TV shows, should be awesome, right? Um, but let's get some stuff out of the way right out the gate. I think that so far, 2 years in, eight shows down, it's kind of been a huge letdown and a disappointment. Even my favorite movie or favorite show that we'll talk about at the top of this ranking, I don't think it's as good as any of the MCU films. I hate the first Captain America. It's like one of my least favorite MCU films. Eternals, don't like Eternals. And I still think that those movies are better than all of these shows. So, I mean, not even just from a production value standpoint, but just, I don't know, like the stories and things, the characters. I would say maybe there's been a fewer cooler characters, but for the most part, I just don't think that these even belong in that ranking. I've put them in, then I've taken them back out before, and I think I'm just going to leave them out for now until we get a show that is as good as an MCU film. I'm just going to consider them separate, even though they're in the same timeline and blah, blah, blah. I also don't think any of these shows have been as good as the Netflix shows, even Iron Fist, because I started towards the end of Iron Fist, that second season, I started to kind of like it, and I just feel like those shows have had better storylines and are more my kind of style. Like you'll find out some of this stuff. I feel like it's either been watered down, it's kind of been Disney-fied at times, or I don't know, the budget sometimes. Like I know the Netflix shows didn't have this huge budget, but I don't know. The Netflix shows are just better in my opinion. I love Daredevil. I love The Punisher. I love Jessica Jones. I really like the Netflix shows. So yeah, that's basically how I feel about the MCU Disney Plus shows as a whole right now. But with all that being said, I have enjoyed things about certain shows, and we'll get into it as I rank them. I'm going to try and rank these pretty quickly as I talk through them. And of course, some of them are going to be a little fresher on the mind because, we just got done with She-Hulk last night. I watched the season finale of that. But I'm going to talk through them real quick, going to rank them. And then you guys can comment and tell me what you think. I know I'm not, this is all subjective, and I know probably my rankings are going to be nothing like yours. Darth Easy, we're buddies and we talk about it sometimes, and I think his rankings are much different than mine, and also he does like a lot of these shows more than I do. So, but let's get into it. Number 8, She-Hulk, Attorney at Law. I don't know about how to apparently navigate my new setup here. She-Hulk Attorney at Law. This is the one that just came out, like I just said, and my least favorite. And I'm gonna say I liked the first episode, where we got the setup and Hulk was there, and I kind of thought, oh, this might be kind of cool. I liked the Daredevil episode. I was so worried about Daredevil, them ruining Daredevil, because he's one of my favorites, and I love that Netflix show. And while they did, he's different and he's kind of goofy. I don't think they treated him as a joke. He was actually pretty much the most serious character in the show overall. I don't really like when he came back at the end episode because I really did not like the last episode of She-Hulk. I get it. I want to give him credit for being clever, but it was just, I was like, what is this? And then it kind of made the whole plot line of the whole show just kind of pointless, which added on to already a show that was not finding funny. Um, I just I just don't know about the show. I will say, and goes for a lot of the show. I liked, what's her name, Tatiana Maslany, or it's Tatiana Maslany. Yeah, see, I got it right the first time. As Jennifer Walters, I thought she was pretty good, and I would be interested in seeing her in another. I'm dreading the day that we're probably going to get a season 2 of this show, and I'm going to have to watch it. But if she was to pop up in some other stuff, like the teased, like Planet Hulk movie or show or whatever they were teasing at the end here, I wouldn't hate that, I guess. Or if she was to show up in some kind of Avengers movie or something, I don't know. But overall, was my least favorite show. It was hard to get through. Yeah, not good, not good. My number 7 is going to be the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So let's see if I can do this again here. Maybe, maybe not. Maybe. I don't know what the deal is with this. The page up button is not working any longer, which might be a problem. This is going to be a problem because my whole slideshow depended on the page up button, which apparently now is dead. Maybe I can somehow move this along. What happens if I click the next button? Oh, here we go. There we go. So, this is why I didn't do it live, but all of this is going to be included in it because I'm not changing anything. Also, I just now noticed that my font on here is too big, so let me shrink that down a little bit. So we're learning here. We're learning. Let's go to. That's probably gonna be too small. Yeah, it fits. Whatever works, right? All right. So the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. To be honest, this one I remember the least of all of them. I do remember when I watched it. See, I need to silence my watch too. I do remember when I watched it. It was a slog to get through, especially after WandaVision. I don't know if it's just like I wasn't feeling. I know I didn't like the bad guys. I know I didn't like the overall story. It would just, I don't know. This is probably one I need to go back and watch. And I don't think any of these shows, maybe except for WandaVision, did I go back and rewatch episodes. So I've only seen all this stuff once through. So I could change my mind later and change these around down the road. But the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, didn't really get into it. It was a slog to get through, and I do remember there was a couple cool action scenes, and I liked the end tag with. I think this is the one that had. Well, now no, I don't. I think I'm mixing it up with something else, but it was pretty meh for me. So we'll move on. Let's see if I can do this. Look at me. I'm learning here. Miss Marvel. So Miss Marvel, pretty, what in the world is going on with this? Here we go. Miss Marvel, This one, I'm so mixed on it. It's kind of like She-Hulk, where I loved the first several episodes. I think it was the 2 or 3. I loved the character of Miss Marvel. I thought she was great. I loved the family dynamic. I loved the beginning of this. It felt like Spider-Man. I liked all the cool, like Scott Pilgrim versus the World stuff, like the drawings and stuff, and I was just really feeling it. And I think I got on social media and was like, oh my gosh, this is the best MCU show they've done so far. I liked the production value. And then it started to get real bad real quick. They started doing things like showing action scenes or just general scenes, anything involving CGI, which they made fun of in She-Hulk. They just started like showing it off camera, because I guess we don't have the time or the money to work in any of the CG of the shots. The story, once she goes off to the Middle East and stuff, and it just really drags. The villains are bad. The very last episode is okay, and the first 2 or 3 episodes are good. But overall, I couldn't believe how bad it got towards the end. And I just wasn't feeling it. I liked the character, and I'm definitely looking forward to seeing her in the Marvels. And maybe I could grow to like it. But this was a one that for sure I felt the production value thing, and it just bugged the crap out of me. And I didn't like it. But that's my number 6. My number 5 is going to be good old Moon Knight. If only I could spell. Okay, I'm getting quicker. Moon Knight, I was super excited for this show because I had heard that Moon Knight was kind of the Batman of the MCU. Well, it turns out Moon Knight is the Batman of the MCU in his first edition. In his second edition, he was this schizophrenic, multiple personality type character that we get in this show. So it's based off the newer comics. I like Oscar Isaac as the character. It's another one of those shows where like 2 or 3 episodes in, I was digging it. I was like where we were going. They started doing the cut to black action scenes. I got it at the beginning when they were like, it was part of the story, that, he was waking up, in the middle of a car chase, and he's got a gun for some reason. And that was cool, but when they kept doing it towards the end, I was like, ugh, I'm like, all the cool action scenes and everything are hidden by that gimmick. And then towards the end, it was really bad. The last episode was awful. I hated the last episode. It really kind of tainted the whole thing for me. It felt rushed. A lot of these MCU shows, they were real short. We only got like a few episodes. It felt like they would drag at the beginning, and then the last episode they would just try to tie all the ends up. And at the time, I remember thinking, well, maybe this won't be a big deal because we're going to get more seasons of Moon Knight, and maybe we will because they go back and forth on it all the time. But as of right now, we're not getting more seasons of Moon Knight, and so if this was just a standalone, separate thing, I wasn't a fan. I was not a fan. Now, this is another one where I really did like the character. So, and I like Oscar Isaac, so I'd be interested to see how this turns out. But it's another one of those where it had promise, and then we got to the end, and I couldn't do it. Now for a show that we are getting a season 2 next year, I think, would be Loki. Loki. Tom Hiddleston and Owen Wilson, and basically in Avengers Endgame, it really attached itself well to that. I feel like because we get the Loki from way back from the first Avengers, from all that time travel stuff, and so we start off with evil Loki. I loved his chemistry with Owen Wilson. It was great. I liked Owen Wilson's character. I really was liking the story. I remember we're getting towards the middle with his one of his doppelganger people, the girl one. I can't remember what her name is, but and that's when I started not getting as interesting. The weird love story between Sylvie. That's who it is. Weird love story between him and Sylvie, and then it really it's one of those that really peters out towards the end, and I was just I don't know, I was disappointed again. The one with all his different variants, it was kind of funny. This was one I was definitely when we got done, I was like, I want to see more, but I hope they up the production value, up the episode count, up the episode length, give us more depth to some of these characters because it just felt a little hollow. And I left disappointed again. At the end of this, I was disappointed as usual. I know we're getting Kang the Conqueror or whatever, and we got the Kang Dynasty stuff coming up. I know he's supposed to be an Ant-Man, so maybe this will tie in better to that, future movies and things, and it could have payoff later on down the line, whereas maybe I'll like Loki more, especially now we're getting a second season. So I don't know. We'll see. This one I didn't hate as much. This is one of the ones I kind of liked, but it still had the same problems that all of these shows have had so far. Number three, and this surprised me when I was going to make the list because I didn't think I was even gonna like this. As a matter of fact, I think this is the one that took me the longest to watch, just because I was like, I mean, this has got nothing to do with anything, right? And that's What If. Let's switch it here. Yeah, What If, the animated kind of side piece show where it was every episode was kind of a new what if story. What if we got Captain Britain instead of Captain America? What if there was zombie episode? There was a Party Thor episode. There was all these different episodes, and I kind of enjoyed it. Kind of like how I liked Star Wars Vision. I like the fact that we got different, just cool, unique little different stories. And hey, if that story sucked, well, we just moved on to the next story. It didn't really matter. As far as this tying in with anything, that'd probably be one of my negatives of the show because it doesn't really. I know I thought it might with Doctor Strange, but it didn't really end up mattering that much. And this is getting a second season, so I'm game just to see different storylines and things and different timelines and different characters doing different things. It's interesting to see, even if it's just for 20, 30 minutes, and then we just move on to the next story. So surprisingly, I enjoyed it. I will say the animation is hard to get used to in this. Um, it's kind of cheap looking, and I wish that could be better. But other than that, and the fact that this doesn't really tie into the MCU overall much, yet anyways, that would probably be my two negatives of the show. But that's my number three. My number two, this will probably be one that people will disagree with me the most, because I think a lot of it is because of Haley Steinfeld. Hawkeye. And this came out last Christmas time, around Thanksgiving, if I remember correctly. And it kind of has a Christmas setting. It takes place during Christmas. I really, once again, got a little too excited, too hyped up, thinking this was going to tie into Spider-Man somehow. And it didn't, even though they're happening right around the same time. But I liked the character of Hawkeye and Clint, and I liked his kind of old man shtick. I'm a sucker for those kind of stories. I love Logan, for instance, and this had a very kind of Logan feel to it at times. I love Haley Steinfeld. I thought she made a great, and now I can't think of her name all of a sudden. Kate Bishop. Here we go. I thought she made a great Kate Bishop. I like the different ties that this had to different MCU characters. I think it's going to be important later on down the line. I hope we get more Kate Bishop, because she was great in the show. This was one of those ones where what they did tie it into is Daredevil, and took some of the Daredevil characters like Kingpin, and I just don't know if I feel very good about how they ended those uh, the last episode. I didn't really like the last episode and what they did with some of the characters. I did like Echo though, and I am interested to see her side story show. So overall, I mostly like the show. I was into it for most of the part. There was some cool one-shot action scenes. Like I said, I loved Kate Bishop. It was just that last episode was kind of a letdown, but the most part, I'm definitely looking forward to more from the characters of Hawkeye, which I know most people, Hawkeye's like their least favorite. So yes, the beginning, the show I was not looking forward to very much, and surprisingly ended up liking the best so far. The first show, WandaVision, I was like, I don't really like Wanda very much. And where I give this show props is it was very unique. It felt like a Lost type show when you were watching it, and you wanted to. Every episode, you were just like on the edge of your seat, and you wanted to watch the next episode. That was really cool. The mystery of it all at the beginning. It might be the newness of it too was pretty. Maybe change it, but also the fact that this one ties in really well with Doctor Strange, and it does. Really, to me, make it to where this one tied together the best, is what I'm trying to say, with the movies. It really made Doctor Strange better for me because you kind of understood Wanda's character in Doctor Strange. For me, anyways. I know some people it's the opposite, but for me, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed pretty much everything except for the last episode. Like most people, it kind of got a little silly towards the end. I didn't like the whole Ralph Boner thing. I was super excited. I thought, oh my gosh, we're getting X-Men. Whoa, it's amazing. And then it was kind of just a middle finger to everybody. I hated that part for sure. But other than that, I really did dig this show. Also, this show, like, I felt like has the best cliffhangers and the best mystery elements and I don't know. The best story for me was in this. I really connected with Wanda, and I really really liked pretty much everything about the show. But like I said at the beginning of this, even though I like this show, I don't think it's as good as the Netflix shows. I don't think it's as good as any of the movies. I just think this was the best of what I will call a disappointing start to the MCU Disney Plus shows. Hopefully it gets better. I know next we have Secret Invasion is the next one. We're getting Echo. We're getting Loki season 2. We're getting What If season 2. So there's a lot more to come, and maybe I'll wait another 2 years until we get up to like 16 shows before I do this again. But I can't stick these in with the movies quite yet because I think it's been disappointing. Whereas on the Star Wars side of things, I felt like they've done a good job, at least with the Mandalorian and Andor right now. Those two feel cinema quality to me, or movie quality. I feel like they spent the budget. They have interesting storylines that connect so well that the fact that we're not having Star Wars movies right now is not a huge deal. Could you imagine if right now this is what we had in the MCU? Like, we weren't getting MCU films, and Phase 4 has not been that great, but can you imagine we didn't have any Phase 4 films? No Spider-Man, No Way Home, and this is all we had for the last couple years. Man, people would be talking about how the MCU was in the trash, and so for me, just Disney needs to step it up. Needs to step it up. What are we at? About 25 minutes. I think it's a good stopping point. Just let me know in the comments what you guys think. Do you want another video like this? Like I was thinking after Black Panther, maybe I'll do my full, I think it will be at 30 MCU films, so that would be a cool video to do, to rank all the MCU films. Also, we're getting towards the end of the year, so we'll have our top 10 movies and stuff over on the Darth Easy channel that we do every year. So, yeah, just let me know. And I guess until next time, peace out.